Good afternoon, Michael. How are you today?
Quiz.
I was just seeing someone else here and I thought I'd drop in and say hello.
Quiz.
You probably don't remember me, but I'm Dr. Harris and I'd like you to call me Helen.
Quiz!
Oh, quiz, yes, like we did last time, of course. We can, if that's what you'd like to do. Do you know where you are, Michael? Oh dear, Michael.
Good morning, this is your call. This is your wake-up call.
G'day folks. Many of you won't have met me, but I can guess you'll know who I am. I'm the son, John. I'm the spitting image of the old man, aren't I? Except I used to tell him he'd got less hair and a bigger tummy than me, but he said that was just a stupid old joke. Now, I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable because I'm not used to doing things like this, and I remember that 4 years ago Dad didn't want everybody travelling all over the place and coming miles just for a few sandwiches and a glass of wine at my mum's funeral, and so he did a video and let you all see it. Well, now I know things are a bit different and you're not allowed to travel very far, so yesterday at the funeral there were very few of us there. Just one or two close relatives, that's all that was allowed. And I thought, just like Dad did, I'd do a little video for him and then you can all see it, can't you? I think he'd have enjoyed that. My wife's pressing the buttons like I did before, only she's probably not quite as good as I am, but you know, she's the best I've got, and we'll go with that, shan't we? You're probably wondering why I'm dressed like this. Well, it's because my dad had a great sense of humour, a wicked sense of humour even. And when I left for Australia all those years ago, he bought me what he called my Aussie outfit. He reckoned that the Australians hadn't got much of a sense of humour. They can't take the piss out of themselves, he said. So whenever I wanted to take the piss out of them, he said, just put on the Australian outfit and they'll be really pissed off. And you know something? He was absolutely right. However, I want to prove that I've not just inherited my dad's good looks, but his sense of humour as well. And so I've been on Amazon. And I've managed to order half a dozen of these and half a dozen of the shirts. And I don't know if you can you see the shorts? Yeah, don't take any notice of the legs, but you know, and half a dozen of the shorts and the diamond socks. And when I eventually send you the photographs, you'll see my wife's wearing an outfit, our two daughters are wearing an outfit, and their husbands are wearing outfits. It's probably the only fancy dress funeral that I've ever known. But if you don't mind, I'm going to take the hat off. I mean, the corks are bloody irritating for a start. And I'm going to take the shades off because I want you to see that I've got my dad's baby blue eyes as well. Now, I knew that if I was going to do this video, I'd have to have some words to say. Some things about my dad, some reminiscences and things like that. And I'm not like my dad. He enjoyed doing this sort of thing and I hate it. I'm as nervous as hell. And I was sitting here in his apartment down at the home which clearing the things out, and this morning I was trying to write some words down. Words that you might find interesting or funny, and I was having a real trouble. And then suddenly there was a knock on the door. It was, you know, fate, or whatever you call it. I opened the door, and there stood an old neighbour of my dad's and mum's, Linda. And I said, "Oh, come inside, Linda." She said, "Well, I've written you a letter, John. I'll just leave it with you." I said, No, come inside. And we'll sit down, we'll have a cup of tea together, and we'll read the letter together. And it's what we did. And you know, the letter was great. I welled up at one stage, and another stage I spat my tea out of my mouth. But I said to Lynn, I said, "Look, do you mind if I read this letter out in the video for Dad's friends? I think it sums him up in more ways than I could possibly do it." And she said, "No, you go ahead, John, you read the letter, I don't mind." And so, if you don't mind, I'm going to read Linda's letter. See, I've got better eyesight than my dad. I don't need those silly specs he used to wear. "Dear John, first, can I tell you how very sad and upset I am for your loss? Your mother and father were wonderful people, and I feel blessed to have had them both as friends and neighbours. I do, however, have a confession to make, but I hope you'll not be too shocked or angry or upset by it. I loved your father deeply, and I'll never forget him. A while after your mum died, Michael and I became lovers, but I was never a replacement for Chrissy. No one ever could be. But Michael and I both had needs, and we cared for each other. After he sold his house and moved into this place in St. Luke's, Michael took me on a wonderful holiday to St. Petersburg. It was so beautiful, walking hand in hand in the snow and cuddling up and keeping warm without worrying that anybody might see us. I was so happy. But after our last dinner there, when we'd finished the food and moved on to the whiskies, Michael told me that we should stop seeing each other. When we returned home, he said he didn't want me to feel under any obligation as his condition deteriorated. I just smiled and asked him if perhaps we could meet up now and again for a shag. He nearly spat his whiskey out of his mouth at that. But he said that he had given it some thought. But he thought it wouldn't be fair on me. And so he'd already made arrangements with a local escort agency to send a woman round to the home 2 or 3 times a month. I asked him how much they were going to charge him. £250 a month, he said. And so I said I'd do it for 100. That's where I nearly spat my tea out of my mouth. And we both giggled like naughty kids and finally settled on £150 a month. And so every month from then on, £150 would land in my bank account. And I would visit your dad 2 or 3 times a week, not the 2 or 3 times a month of the escort agency. He even gave me a Christmas bonus in the first December. And each time I'd visit him, I'd take a small bottle of malt whiskey and I'd put that silly French song on my mobile, and we'd make each other happy. But I didn't do it for the money, John. I did it because I loved Michael. I always will. And besides, I don't need the money. I've got plenty. So please, find enclosed the cheque for £4,650. I think you should either spend it unwisely on you and your wife, or wisely on a charity. Towards the end, Michael used to get very confused. He kept asking me if I loved him every couple of minutes, and called me Chrissy. Of course I told him that I loved him, because I do. But I hope you don't mind. I never told him that I wasn't Chrissy. There doesn't seem much point, really. I hope you're not too shocked, John, and I hope you don't think we did anything wrong. Michael never stopped loving Chrissy or you or your family. He was so proud of you all, and I was proud of him. I hope you are. Be happy, John. Love, Linda. P.S. Please excuse the paper and the writing. Well, you old bugger. You know, there was only 16 years between me and my dad. And as I grew up, he was my dad, he was my best friend, and he was my big brother. I thought I was the luckiest kid in the world. And I've always been proud of him. Everything he did I was proud of. Never thought I could be prouder, not until I read this. And now I'm even prouder than ever. If Mum was right, Dad, then you and you're up there somewhere, sitting in a bar, drinking whiskey and laughing at me because I'm so uncomfortable and nervous. But if Mum was wrong, I don't care. It's how I'm going to think of you both. Holding hands, with a glass of scotch, and making me laugh. I'm going to miss you, Dad. Best friends. Take care. Safe travels. Give Mum a hug from all of us. We'll never forget you. Well, that's it then, folks. I've got some clearing up to do, so just stay safe, won't you, in these difficult times. Good day.